Good evening, folks. I trust you've had a glorious week. God has been so good to me. I bless Him. I'm praising Him. I can tell you, I'm ready for this pandemic stuff to pass. I wasn't born to sit within four walls. This is hard, not only on me, but I'm sure it's hard on a lot of you. But like I told you the other day, this too shall pass. We are going to come through this thing and look back and say, my, how great God was. And that will cause us to know how great God is. You know, the last time I talked with you, we talked about after Jesus' resurrection, He met with the disciples. Well, He met with 10 of them. Thomas was not there, and Judas had already hung himself, and so it just left like that. Let me take you back to St. John's Gospel, chapter 20, for just a few moments. Verse 26. Now, remember, Thomas was not with the disciples the first time Jesus came to them. Verse 26 of chapter 20 said, "And after 8 days again His disciples were within, and Thomas was with them. Then came Jesus, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, Peace be unto you." Oh my, there's those 4 words again. Peace be unto you. And notice what else it said. The same as the previous time. The disciples were gathered together, the doors were all shut, and suddenly Jesus was there with them. Let me tell you something. Your circumstances cannot block Christ out. Your circumstances cannot shut Him out. He is with you. So He said again, "Peace be unto you." In verse 27, then said He to Thomas. Well, why did He talk to Thomas? Why did He draw him out? Well, I'm glad you asked. Verse 25, before where we started reading, when Thomas had found out, the other disciples therefore said unto Him, "We have seen the Lord." But He, being Thomas, said unto them, "Except I shall see in His hands the print of the nails, and put my finger in the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into His side, I will not believe." Well, let me just ask you a question. What does it take for you to believe? Are you a believer? Well, Jesus came back to the disciples, and they are all there, including Thomas, and nobody asked Him to, nobody instructed Him to, but He said to Thomas, "Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach thither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing." You don't have to broadcast it. God's already knowing what's going on. He knows your faith or lack of it. But He will come to you, even in your lack of faith. And He will touch you and minister to you. And verse 28 said, "And Thomas answered and said unto Him, My Lord and my God." And Jesus said unto him again, "Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed." Now catch this very next line. "Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet have believed." Are you like Thomas? You haven't seen, so you don't believe? Well, even if you haven't seen, you can still believe, and Jesus will come to you. And though we haven't seen him and we still believe, Jesus said we are blessed because of that. You know, Peter gets a lot of preaching done about him because he walked on the waters for a little ways and took his eyes off the master and sank, and Jesus had to rescue him. And Peter really gets kind of beat up over that. Thomas gets looked down on occasionally because he didn't believe. He wasn't going to believe until he could thrust his hand and see the nail prints and the scar in his side. Jesus allowed him to do that. I'm not here to put Thomas down. I'm not here to find fault with him. I am here to lift up Jesus, because Jesus accepted that and he did something about it. And then he pronounced a blessing on you and I, because we haven't seen and we still believe. Let me tell you something today. Jesus is still blessing. He's still lifting up. Oh, I don't have a need to put Thomas down. There's plenty of stuff in my life that people can put me down. Could be some in your life that people can put you down, but that's not even the point. The point is, Jesus came. He came to him in the midst of his thinking, in the midst of his questions, bringing an understanding to him. So we can call him Doubting Thomas, but ultimately he believed. Are you believing? Are you believing God's going to come and take you through and meet every need that you have? Or are you doubting that maybe if you could just see something, if there's something you could just put your hand on, like, you would believe. Blessed are you if you haven't seen and you still believed. Oh, Thomas had his questions. Can I tell you, all of us have questions. Maybe not the same one, but we have them. And can I encourage you that God doesn't excommunicate you because you have questions. God will show you an answer to your question. He will lead you through your dilemma. God is so faithful. God is so good. I can tell you that I don't know where I would be without the Lord. But I can also tell you, I have the Lord. He walks with me. He talks with me. He leads me. He guides me. He reaches me with his word. And because of that, I have the power, the grace, and strength to go through my problems, past my situations, and go unto God. Before I close, let me ask you, you that I talked to last night that you're struggling with peace, did you get your rest last night like God wanted you to? I'm telling you, Thomas, he didn't believe until he saw. I just say, God, open our eyes of faith. Let us see that we can receive and we can believe that you are who you say you are. Until the next time, God bless you. Go with God. Have a great day tomorrow. I'll see you next time. God bless.
Then I ask myself this question: